Damn it, I gotta stop taking baths during Peter's shenanigans.
I gotta stop taking bath salts.
Well,
that'll never
you ever
happen.
eat somebody's face?
Uh-huh.
You ever eat somebody's face off?
Nah, but I've eaten Day 4 festival ass.
Have you?
I'm just saying it for the clout.
Welcome back to episode YHOR33 of YHOR Rules. Started off with the good old fucking YHOR introduction where no one even knows what the fuck is going on, but we do have some shit to get into today. We've got a lot of fucking announcements. Episode 33. We're here with Bailey Earnhardt and Sam, who were on a podcast, I think it was 2 episodes ago.
I think it was 3.
Very good guys, but we have a bit of an announcement with them. I am expanding the YHOR Rules to more than just a podcast. It's always been something that is kind of a media like Colective and stuff like that. But now I'm starting to do a little bit more with it. We are going to launch a group page for YHOR Rules that is going to be for stuff like sharing artwork, sharing video game clips, sharing your podcast. We also want it to be a discussion board, and I've talked to my cousin Jack, who you've seen on a couple episodes before. He's really good with words and likes to theorize stuff, so he's gonna get in there and hopefully it pops off a little bit and we can get some people in there interacting with the chats and stuff like that. But the reason why I have Sam on and Bailey on this episode right now is because they are now becoming an official part of YHOR Rules. I don't know if it's necessarily been announced. It probably will by the time we release this. Stop shaking your leg. But by the time we release this, we do have on April 9th with another show at the Barrel. This will be your 4th show, right, that you're doing there?
Yeah, I think so. 4th show.
Yeah, but this time we're going to be doing it under the brand YHOR Rules. It kind of fit because she never really did anything. She's now kind of the vice president of everything. You're going to be seeing her a lot more, and Sam probably, as well as Hunter, who's a part of this as well on more episodes. I'm starting to gear the podcast a little bit more away from the inviting just random people on and having it more of a core group. I still do want to have guests on or whatever, but I want it to be a little bit more of an out there people, not necessarily just my friends, people who we meet, like artists and other just interesting people. Yep. We'll see how that goes. There's a lot to pan out, a lot of work. We've been discussing this for like 2 weeks and been putting shit off, and yeah, now we're here. Sam's role in it is going to be a little bit more of like the visual art side of things, the graphic design side of things. That's where he's kind of going to be head at. He's going to be in charge of doing that, and he's starting to work on some like live art paintings and stuff like that. We're going to be doing that, like maybe time lapses of TikToks and stuff. We're going to be all over the place. It's going to be something. We've got 6 people on it. If you're in the group, you can take a look at the moderators and stuff, and those are pretty much the heads of YHOR Rules. As well as maybe a little fucking collab with Heyman Productions, which is Jack's production company down in Nashville, Tennessee. So if we want to kick it off a little bit, do you want to talk about the Barrel a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So April 9th, like Keith said, we are going to have a show at the Barrel in Springboro. It's right in between Dayton and Cincinnati. But this show, we haven't really done anything where we brought people from like out of state and such like that. So we're bringing in people from Tennessee, from Kentucky, and then we're going to have some people that are just hometown local DJs and producers. And we're starting to bring in a little bit bigger people than just like, getting the start of things. Sam is going to be doing a live art painting there. Which will be available if you guys want it for what's it called for like to buy it?
Commission.
Commission, yeah.
Yeah. So I just recently started trying out canvases, and I just got a bunch of acrylic paint markers and stuff. We got some time out. I got 2 months before the thing. I've been practicing, and I am really excited about this because they are really fun to use. And I think I can whip out some really cool shit here coming out in the future. Yeah,
so April 9th, come out. Have a good time. We're going to have baseballs, subs, JBL tops. It's going to be a lot of production for a tiny venue.
There's going to be 2 stages this time around, right?
Yeah, there's going to be 2 stages. One outside. It's in April, but we'll have heaters if it's too cold, and there's a bonfire pit, so it'll be pretty cool.
That'd be lit.
Yeah, it's a lot of big things coming. Okay, I think I do have my mic working. I'm not sure if that first part picked up where I introduced. My mic was just working before that, and now it kind of went out. I think I adjusted a little bit, so now I think we're good. So, yeah, keep an eye out for all the stuff that's going on there. I've got a couple people on who I've talked about the group that are going to maybe post some art as well. It's going to be something that is open to everybody. It's going to be a group that we are monitoring, so, whenever someone does go to post something in there, it's going to be something that we view first, and we're going to make sure that it's okay. And, of course, we have the commentary that you can give back to it. So maybe you posted something, you just didn't proofread it or something like that, and we're going to be like, hey, you know what, clean up the spelling and stuff like that, and then we'll let you post it. One thing that I'm a little bit hesitant on, I am going to allow it at first, is show promotion, whether or not you want to post your shows. I do notice that a lot of these groups, though, they end up getting caught into this thing where it's overly saturated with just like people spamming their fucking shows. So I do want to make sure that we don't do that. I'm hoping that at some point I can split the media collective and the discussion page separately, because I think one might end up outweighing each other, but we're basically just going to have to see where it goes from here. So yeah, keep an eye on it, follow the group. All the information that's going to come from that is going to be coming through that group. And then you can also follow the Facebook page and us on all social medias. I would recommend taking a look at our TikTok and Instagram, because there's going to be a lot of videos that are coming, whether it's podcast clips, video game clips, live art, fucking time lapses, anything that you can think of really media-wise, you are more than welcome to share. And I do want to say that it is not strict to EDM when it comes to the music. I want people to share all their musics, even if it's country. I hate country music, but like, go ahead and fucking share your shit. I'm sure there will be people in there who respond to that well. So yeah, give it a look. Follow the page. This might be going live before. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it. I've got a lot of work to do the next 2 days to get this shit up. So I'm hoping that this will all go up at the same time, but I might release this first. If so, then give it like 1 or 2 more days. You'll probably be getting an invite from all of us. So I'm probably just going to invite all my friends, see who wants to join and shit on there.
Right,
but
pretty much.
With that being said, though, let's move to the first topic that we have on hand. Your House, Our Rules is a Cincinnati-based podcast media collective. And as y'all know, the Bengals played in the Super Bowl this weekend and heartbreakingly lost again on the final offensive drive in the Super Bowl.
What a fucking run, though.
Yeah, they got there, though.
What a fucking run.
Seriously. First time in our lifetimes. I was happy to say I watched that show with my family.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right there with my dad.
That was one of the things that was happening, because when they won the AFC championship game, the first thing I did was call my dad. And then after that, I let my boss know that I wasn't going to be there on Super Bowl Monday. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to have a party. And I kind of put the party teaser out there for everyone, and it kind of was just like everyone's going to watch it with their family, which is what I would have done initially if I would have watched it with my dad, if that were the case, but they just moved to Florida. So I kind of understood that was going to happen. Ended up going over to my grandma's condo, watched it with my cousin Jeff, my cousin Justin, Uncle Jack and Aunt Mary. Tay unfortunately had to work.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and it was one of the things that the cool thing about it was, though, even though we lost, we do have a lot of potential in the team. It was a close game. We did the damn thing. But the buzz around the city was absolutely unreal this past weekend.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Just absolutely crazy. I actually had a friend from Tennessee who came up. Her name is Jenna Tabor. She's down in Nashville, Tennessee. Shout out Jenna. She came up for a little Galentine's Day with her friends or whatever for this Valentine's Day weekend. And she was coming up to me, and she came to my house for a little bit and was like, we really don't know how to respond to Who Day. And I was like, you just say Who Day back.
You just say it back.
You just say it back.
Yeah.
Ain't that the truth, though?
My little cousin even called me and said Who Day. He can barely talk. It was awesome.
I mean, you remember me after the Titans game. I was absolutely trashed, just screaming Who Day at everyone. 30 minutes of phone calls afterwards, just making sure everybody.
Oh, you called everybody.
Everyone that I could. Not Nashville. I was calling up a lot of like friends and stuff like that. Like I talked to fucking Max and Chris. Talked to my dad. I talked to Jack.
Yeah, for sure.
Gibby wouldn't talk to me, his bitch ass. So, yeah, it was a really good time. It was a hell of a run. We got 3 games. They haven't lost a playoff game since my parents moved to Florida until the Super Bowl. So, go ahead and stay down there, guys.
I'm going to run with that.
Yeah. So, do you guys have any commentary on the Bengals or what happened in the Super Bowl or anything like that? Because I know there's a lot of shit going around the Bengals right now.
They just need an O-line, man.
They do need an
O-line.
O-line.
Their O-line sucks.
People want to say a lot, make excuses for the game and how it turned out, and honestly, it's not going to change the outcome.
No.
It is what it is. We are looking really good, no matter how you dice it.
Yeah.
It's just give it time.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who are saying it was rigged. There's a lot of what ifs, what it coulda, shouldas, and stuff like that. For us to have a second-year quarterback who came off an injury last year with 4 wins last season and mostly rookie talent on the fucking wide receivers, I think Mixon is in his second year now, maybe third. But to have that young of an offense just absolutely fucking bolstering teams with no O-line. I mean, he got sacked 8 times in the Super Bowl game. Yep. He got sacked like 70 or something this season.
Yeah, I was right around there.
He beat a record, didn't he? With getting sacked?
Yeah, I think he was 4th all time or something like that.
Wasn't the Super Bowl like the most sacks in Super Bowl history?
Most sacked quarterback in Super Bowl history, I believe it was.
That's what I thought I read.
And we still almost won.
Yeah, and I mean, it was one of those things too where I think it kind of plays off. I know a lot of people don't agree with me on this one, but we had that touchdown that came out after the second half, and like it was a blatant face mask, blatant offensive pass interference to score on that. The only thing is, we don't really need to fucking start throwing flags at the end of the game when we haven't been throwing flags.
They said that if you make a makeup call, which happens in every football game that has a bad call, don't make it. What was it? 28 minutes into the game. Yeah, you make it next play. You don't make it 28 minutes into the end of the game.
It's one of those things where, as someone who grew up playing sports and stuff like that, you do kind of understand that if it was a ticky-tack foul and it was kind of a bad foul that they called, if you get called for someone on the other side, it's just kind of the way it is. You need to get a makeup call. Don't wait fucking 3 quarters later.
No, that's what everybody's complaining about though. Is they threw 4 flags within like 2 minutes or something like that.
Exactly, but my whole thing is the game is played for a reason. It happened, so let it go. There were other things that happened. Chase on our last down was wide open, had the dude beat. If he had more time, he would have been able to throw a touchdown pass. What if? It didn't happen.
Sure.
Boyd dropped a fucking touchdown pass, or dropped a fucking pass that was, I think it was the last drive or whatever, and Boyd never drops any fucking passes.
Yep.
And it was just an absolute fucking heartbreaking thing to witness, but for us to only lose by, 3? It was 1 possession. We lost by 1 possession in the Super Bowl, and we weren't even supposed to be there.
They should have just let Shooter kick it.
Yeah. Just let him kick like 80 yards.
Yeah, just kick it.
Fucking Shooter's got it.
Yeah, he might have got
Looks
it.
like we won the Super Bowl, boys.
Would have gave us a better chance than what we
crazy.
had, I think.
mean, shout out to him, too. A lot of people were talking about Joe Burrow and stuff, but for real, the biggest hype that I saw around the Bengals for the Super Bowl was the defense and McPherson.
Yeah, McPherson's amazing.
McPherson
He's clutched the playoffs for us.
He hit like 15 field goals in the entirety of the playoffs. Did not miss one.
Right.
If we didn't have him,
and he stayed on the field for the halftime show.
Yeah,
that is awesome.
That is the most kicker shit I have ever heard.
Let's segue that into a little bit. What did you guys think of the halftime performance?
I fucking loved it.
I loved it. It was awesome.
It was great. It was for our generation and Generation X and people above us. Like, this was our time.
Yeah.
I saw someone post that, like, if you are above 50 or below 30, you probably didn't like this. But in my opinion, it was the best Super Bowl performance that I've seen. And I've seen, like, Springsteen, Petty, fucking Paul McCartney.
I mean, Michael Jackson, though.
Michael Jackson.
Prince killed it, too.
Prince was good.
Yeah.
Bruno Mars fucking killed it.
Yeah.
Like, there's been some good halftime performances.
Beyonce got it.
Just the fact that I'm a little bit of a hip-hop head. And
I was about to say, we're a little bit biased, for sure. And ultimately, it comes down to your preference and what you like to enjoy. Mm-hmm. But honestly, we have seen everybody's grandma and grandpa come out of the woodwork just to say how they feel about the Super Bowl halftime show.
Worst halftime of all time. And I was just like, it's not worth it, Keith. Don't say anything.
Snoop Dogg smoked a joint right before
the game.
No shit. It's Snoop Dogg. What do you mean?
I don't.
There's a picture of him holding it on stage. I'm like, really? Yeah, that's what he does.
The thing about it is, you're in LA. LA
it's legal.
In California. California is a recreational.
Yeah, it's legal.
So for them to fucking have all that bullshit, it's real stupid.
People are really making a big deal about Eminem kneeling too, and they don't for the Tupac thing, but they don't know that that's what that was for. They think it was a political stance.
Did you see what somebody said? They were like, "Why are you getting so upset over this when the national anthem wasn't even playing? It must not be because of the national anthem."
Yeah.
I was like, well, okay.
I just don't know what to say about that. They did my dude M dirty though.
Yeah, they had a major backing track on him, and he was trying to like rap over it, and I don't know. I expected more from him. Honestly, I think Kendrick's part was fire.
Kendrick's was dope.
Kendrick's part was fire.
My microphone is not working, so I'm going to move the condenser mic in between me and Bailey, and it's just going to have to get both of us because for some reason it starts and then it goes out.
That sucks.
But yeah, we're just going to have to deal with it. So this mic should pick it up pretty well, though.
I'll share my mic with you. It's fine.
For sure. For sure. We'll be all right. I'll monitor that a little bit. But yeah, like you were saying, the Kendrick part of it was probably my favorite part.
I think so too. That intro and how he started out was like, we gonna be all right.
Yeah.
Man, I'll sell it, man.
And it was...
we got hype. There was like a mosh pit in my bar. It was so fun.
It was absolutely phenomenal. The big part that got me about his part of the performance was the dancers that they had in the background, like the really smooth tuxedo dressed people doing that weird choreography. That was really, really fun to me. And it brought up a point when we were watching it with Justin and stuff like that, that we were like, yo, that we were talking about who our favorite parts were and stuff like that. And I was like, I really wish I was at this performance right now so that I could sit there and actually watch what was going in. Because they had like that White House type thing going on.
Everybody was like in a different room.
And like they really were focusing a lot on the performers and stuff like that. And I really wanted to see what was going on in front, what was going on in each of the boxes and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. It was one of the best stage designs that I've seen because it was unique. It wasn't just a stage. It wasn't just lights.
It was cool.
Yeah. It was some really laid back like country or California LA type vibe to it, and it really worked well.
What do you think about them saying that 50 Cent is now a whole dollar?
Shut the
dude. He doesn't even look fat.
Exactly.
He doesn't even look fat.
Shut the fuck.
But he's also like what 50?
Y'all petty.
He's old. Like what
are
you gonna look like when you're 50?
It looks like he got healthy. It looks like he cleaned up his shit and quit some vices, cut some shit out of his life.
Well, 50 Cent's always been jacked. And we didn't see him with his wife beater off or anything like that, but he looked like he had a little bit more bulk to his arm, but he didn't have like a protruding belly or anything like that. He's at 50 years old. He might not have a six-pack anymore.
He's filled out a bit.
He's an entrepreneur too, so he might not have like, even though he's not rapping anymore, he probably has less time than he did back then.
But to be honest, where he's at and what he's doing, I doubt he gives a shit.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Making too much money. And he played at the fucking Super Bowl, bro. That's everybody's dream.
Well, I didn't know that 50 was going to play.
No, he was the only one that wasn't announced.
I was surprised. Yeah.
Well, one of the people that was at my party was like, it was supposed to be LL Cool J.
And that'd be sick.
And I was like, oh, well, why is it 50? Which I love 50 Cent.
Yeah, LL Cool J's fire, though. I got to see him in New Orleans.
Can I bust? Yes, it can.
No, I wish they had the hologram of fucking
Tupac. They said that they were going to do it. I don't know what happened.
I don't know. Yeah, they said that was like a big rumor going around.
It probably was a little bit too much to do and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, they did the hologram of Prince.
Did they?
Wasn't it Prince?
No,
during JT?
They did
Justin Timberlake.
I don't know. I didn't even watch that one.
I don't know about that. I know they did the hologram of Tupac back. It was 1 year at Coachella, and it was during Dr. Dre's set. And he had a segue where he brought that hologram on, and it was two of America's Most Wanted and Hail Mary. I might have the order switched up on that, but it was those two songs.
Yeah.
It was crazy, but maybe a little bit controversial because, you know, I know some artists who are now deceased, they'd be rolling in their grave if, you know, they found out that people were doing that to them.
Yeah.
I mean,
it depends on how you want to interpret it. I still think it was one of the coolest things I have ever fucking seen in live music or in the entertainment industry.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
It's up for interpretation.
Just even the sheer like advancement of technology that it shows that you can do and stuff like that. Yeah, the hologram things that they are doing is really cool. So the only other thing that I really have to say about the halftime performance was at one point when they were saying a lot of people have talked about Dre like playing the piano and doing the music and doing the mixing. We were watching that and my cousin Jeff goes, he's like, "Look at him, dude. He's mixing on stage." I was like, "I think that's a prop, dude." I was like, that doesn't really look real, and I don't think they're gonna let Dre be doing the mastering while he's out there fucking performing and fucking and doing that shit at the fucking Super Bowl, one of the most viewed video fucking things in the entire world yearly.
But I feel like I agree with you, but I feel like if anybody could do it, Dre could probably do it.
I don't think so, because when you're on this big stage and stuff like that, and like you're doing it, you're working with monitors. The sound when you're behind stage is not nearly as good as what front of house is doing. There's absolutely no way they were letting him do that.
I feel you there. It's like I always heard that basically no one actually sings at the Super Bowl. It's all backing track.
Well, we were noticing that like when the Chainsmokers were playing before him too, all of it was lip sync.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I told that to my dad.
I could have sworn I thought Snoop Dogg's part and Mary J. Blige's Blige's part, they were actually singing.
Yeah, Mary J. Blige did sound like they were singing too, because
For
when you
sure.
were looking at the Chainsmokers beforehand and stuff, it even sounded like a mastered track. But when they started playing at the actual Super Bowl, they might actually let them. But it's Mary J. Blige, bro. She's one of the top singers of all
She's
time.
No, she's
amazing.
got the ethos
Yeah.
to be able to carry that
She's
weight.
amazing.
Exactly. So, and then the other ones are rappers, so I don't necessarily think that was all lip synced or whatever. I was talking about the beforehand of stuff like that, and even like the national anthem and stuff like that kind of seemed.
Oh really? I thought the national anthem. I thought the girl that did it, she was some country artist that I know country, and I have no clue who she is.
Well,
And
Janae
it was
Aiko did the
awesome.
fucking America the Beautiful. or
Yeah.
whatever. God damn it. Oh God, that beautiful.
Yeah, she's yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
don't know.
But the actual national anthem, that was beautiful. She did amazing.
Yeah.
For the national
I
anthem.
thought it was very experimental, and it took me a minute to get into it.
Oh,
but
really?
I could
See,
appreciate
I
what she
thought-
was
I
doing.
thought it sounded so good.
It was very good. She didn't do too much with it because a lot of times you get those singers that like hold shit out like Fergie at a fucking Pacers game or some shit like that, fucking just holding every note out too long, and people started booing her and shit like that. It was bad.
She's got range though. I'll give her that.
Well, apparently the national anthem is one of the hardest songs to sing. Like when a singer goes up, because the pressure of singing the national
I think
anthem
it's the
correctly
pressure thing.
is so hard.
And that's why I kind of think they might have ran the lip syncs and such.
They might have.
There's
They
a lot
might
of pressure. There's a lot of people viewing. You really don't want shit to get fucked up.
yeah, but
it's
it
like
sounded good either way.
Who butchered the national anthem? Christina Aguilera.
Did she?
Yeah, it was this at the Super Bowl. I forget what year, but she
I know what you're
butchered
talking
the
about.
national
Way
anthem.
long ago.
It was a bit ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't be
Yeah, I don't
don't be
know.
a Christina.
Don't be a Christina.
But Christina
Basically,
Aguilera,
yeah.
man, she can
It's
get
too close
it.
to Karen's, man.
Dude, no, she can get it. I love
Yeah. She still looks good, too.
God,
Oh fuck yeah.
Burlesque. You ever seen Burlesque?
No.
You need to.
Do
We
I?
should watch. Yes, we should watch it.
We'll have to watch Burlesque.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Watching burlesque.
But moving on from the Super Bowl, because we're about 20 minutes into it, we don't want to get too bogged down with that. I mean, I know
We
it
just
is
love
one of
our
the biggest
Bengals.
events or whatever. We do love the Bengals, and it was a hell of a Super Bowl performance.
Who dat?
It was one of those things where, like, I was having fucking trouble trying to find times to go get a fucking smoke and shit like that, because it's like, I want to watch the commercials, I want to watch halftime, I want to watch the game.
See,
We
I
usually
DJed
just did
during the
during the
commercials.
commercials.
People got pissed when I was doing it. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, fuck you.
I just
The
don't care
commercials
about the
weren't that good
commercials
this year.
anymore.
I don't think.
I really didn't watch any of them.
They weren't that
We were
good.
talking during them and stuff like that, so,
They don't hit like they used to.
No, they
really
don't.
yeah.
They used to be so good.
But, you know, gay people.
But gay people.
Yeah.
Yeah, gay.
But gay people. So, yeah, she's allowed to say it. She's gay, guys.
We're moving from LA to San Fran. All right, let's
But
Yeah.
apparently she won't be able to say it if she goes to school in Florida.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is our next topic that we have. If you want to kind of introduce this one a little bit, you can.
So, I watched a few videos on it with, like, newscasting and whatever, and then the article that I sent the boys. But it's called the Don't Say Gay Bill. And that's not the actual name of it. It's just that's what critics are naming it. Because in Florida,
Sounds
they
like that's
are
basically what it
proposing,
is.
yeah, basically, they're proposing a bill to basically in K through 12 where you can't talk about LGBTQ plus anything or like gender roles or anything like that. And so they're going to abolish all that where you can't say anything about it. And I told the boys before we started this that I have a different take on it than I think they thought I would. But the take that I take from it is I understand that they don't want teachers and, like, you know, people just in the school promoting, being like, hey, you know,
Promoting gayness.
Yeah, not really.
Because
like,
one of the viewpoints that I kind of had with it was I think that it's not necessarily as geared towards the gay community as more as it is towards the trans community.
Well,
I think when it comes down to the whole thing where you're trying to teach early schools and stuff, and we're teaching like evolution and biology and stuff like that, it's one of those things where if you have one thing that is like biologically correct,
Yeah.
I'll air quote that, but even though it is correct, fucking there is a male and there is a woman. Fucking you're born with a fucking penis, you are a male, you're born with a vagina, you are a female.
Yep.
And then when we have these like 69 other different pronouns or whatever, it starts to get a bit confusing,
Yes.
especially when you're at a developmental, you notice me stick that one in there.
Sorry,
bro.
I had to.
That developmental fucking stage where you're learning all these things and you're learning about the anatomy and biology of humans, it can get a little bit confusing.
Yeah.
So I can see why that would be something that they would do. However, in my opinion, I think that it's wrong. I think that it is something that we do need to teach. But you can continue a little bit.
I mean, the thing that DeSantis is saying is that he's found that teachers have been saying, you know, you don't have to check if you're a male or a female in like a test box. You know how you have to when you test, you have to check which one you are, and they're like promoting that, even if they are like they're just saying it as like a blanket for the whole class. And being gay, I'm not trans, but being gay, if my teacher would have said like you when you're young and developing, you don't know really what you are. Like I showed that I was gay when I was young, but I had no clue that that's what it was. And then you kind of just grow into it. You're just like, oh, okay, I understand what it is. And there are young minds that can be persuaded to think certain things, and especially if it's coming from a teacher, because you hang out with your teachers more than you hang out with your parents when you're that age. Yeah. So if a teacher is promoting and being like, you know, just saying a bunch of things about gay people or trans people, I don't think that's right. Like, yes, you should say that this is a safe space and you should say this, but the thing that I don't agree with in that bill is that I was watching this video and it was saying like, well, what if a kid has 2 dads or 2 moms? So where do you draw the line between going in and being like, hey, you know, what are who are your parents, whatever, and you say, well, I have 2 moms. If that bill goes into act, you won't be able to say that anymore in Florida. And that sucks. You won't be able to
tell people that you have 2 moms
because you're talking about gay culture.
That's where the part where the fucking literal side of it gets skewed there, because now we're not allowed to say what actually is happening.
Yeah, but they don't have that in the bill. They don't have any like hard line to draw it at. They're just saying you're not allowed to say anything about LGBTQ plus.
I thought was as teachers teaching that in public schools.
No, so if a teacher hears that something like that, they in the bill they're supposed to say something about it and be like, hey, you can't say that. Yeah. So even if kids are talking about it in school, like to other students or to their teacher, that's where you're not allowed doing that. If this bill passes.
Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things where I kind of see your point where you're coming from and where they're coming from, where it's trying not to like persuade people to be gay and make their own decisions, but at the same time, if you do not teach the fact that there are gay people, there are trans people, there are whatever you want to fucking put in there, then you're not giving them the proper education to really make the decision for themselves.
Well, so I read books about straight people my whole life. Never read books about gay people. Never fucking, watched movies about gay people. They're all straight people. But I'm still gay.
They were never portrayed in the media either when we were kids.
I'm still gay.
It was demonized when we were kids.
It wasn't that, I needed to learn about it. I was like, oh, I like girls. Like it wasn't like I needed to be taught that.
Yeah, but when we were kids, it wasn't as easy to come out as it would be today.
Oh no,
I think that's part of the thing that we're starting to see, because we have reached a world where like gay culture has like successfully been popularized. Like no one of our ages or even a little bit above us is going to judge anyone for being gay for the most part.
No, but you said a word. It's been popularized.
It has been popularized.
So that's a bad thing.
And that's what I'm saying is now it's that's what the point that I was trying to get. Now I think that they're starting to see things, and they're like, well, now a lot of people are coming out as gay that might not actually be gay, and it's starting to skew things to one way.
Yeah,
we need some way to make babies.
Yeah, don't skew it because like they think it's a cool thing now. Like if I could be straight, I would love to be straight.
Exactly.
And I can't be.
I tell people all the time, I'd love to be gay. Fucking women are so difficult to deal with, man. I wish I could just deal with dudes all the time.
I mean, if you're at that point in your life and you're questioning it, fuck around and find out. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Sexuality is...
You want to find out, Bailey?
You want to find out, Bailey?
I've already tried.
Right now. Your House Our Rules, episode 33.
Sexuality is fluid. At some point in life, most people are going to wonder. Yes. And if you don't, you're probably lying or you just haven't yet.
Yep.
But, I mean, it is what it is. People ebb and flow. Come on.
Yeah, well, I'm not necessarily sure that people necessarily know.
Those decisions,
like you said, I think it is a spectrum, and like like kind of like autism is too. Autism's on a spectrum. We're all slightly autistic. Everyone has their cues, but there's no reason that you can move down or up on the spectrum depending on your life experiences and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So maybe you're just like a hardcore dude who fucking is completely against gays and gay rights and everything like that, and then one time you get fucked in the ass and you're like, you know what, I kind of like that.
No homo.
Homo intended.
Homo intended.
Homo intended.
Well, I mean, like, I don't know. Like I said, I was never taught to be gay, and I don't personally like that it's now a cool thing to be gay, because I went through a lot of shit when I was younger where I'm like, you know, why would you want to be like this? Like, it's not fun. Like,
yeah.
I mean, it is now, because again, no one really cares in our generation, like you guys said.
I think a lot of it depends on where you're at too. We should preface it with that, because if you're in like fucking country Alabama and stuff like that, it's not going to be.
Or if you were raised in like a hardcore Christian family, Catholic, whatever.
I mean, also like another side of it is they were talking about like, well, you're going to teach female rights in school, but you can't teach gay rights in school. So people were pissed about, why can you teach women's rights when it's basically the same thing, just in a different way? Like, they were like, well,
I think it's women's right to be gay and choose if they want to be gay or not, but I wouldn't call women's rights and gay rights.
No, that's not what I'm saying. Yeah. But it, like I said, it's a different thing, but it's still the same like type of topic. Like, where they're going to teach the whole female or the women's rights movement and everything and how it was such a good thing, but then they're not going to be allowed to teach another movement that was also a very good thing. Yeah. So that's one take that people are pissed off about in Florida, where they're like, well, if you cut off one thing, where does it end? Why? Yeah. Are you going to cut this thing off?
Well, here's the good thing about it too. It is in Florida, which, if you know a lot about Florida, it's a retirement state, and there are a lot of old boomers who lean more to the right and are against stuff like that.
Yeah.
So at least it's centralized in the place where like it would start first. And hopefully people don't start panning out on it, depending on your opinion on it. Mine is that it doesn't pan out and that eventually it just gets squashed and then we'll be able to continue. I think that there's a lot of things that are going on with the evolution of society and stuff like that, where the boomers are really controlling what's going on and the other people just kind of have to deal with it until they die off. And I think we're starting to get close to that point in time. But as of right now, we just got to deal with the bullshit until it ends. No. I don't think that it's something that will be instilled for very long. We'll find out. We'll see how it works. I mean, if they did pass the bill, correct?
No, the bill is not been passed yet.
Oh, okay.
So it has like a 60-day period where a bill has to pass, or something like that, to where it can be voted on or whatever. And it's getting very close to that, to where they're going to be able to. But the governor came out and said, not directly, but the way he was talking about it, that he's for it.
Okay.
And so if the governor of your whole state is for it,
that doesn't really,
that'll skew, because
I don't really know how that all works. I don't know what type of bill it is, if it's being voted on by the Senate, but the one main guy who is like the governor of it doesn't really have the say in what's going to go on.
Well, I'm talking about him saying it publicly.
Yeah.
And how he talks about it, it's going to skew other people's perceptions on it.
Now it's reached mainstream news, and now that other people are talking about it, people who are probably against it are going to start hearing about it, and so we'll see clashing opinions. I guess all we can really do is wait and see where it pans out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's all we can do for that.
It is a very big thing that will... I wouldn't say I'm necessarily for it or against it, but it will be a step backwards. Yeah. In the gay community, it will be a step backwards.
I've been trying to rationalize like why this bill would even come apart, especially in the schooling system and public schools and whatnot. Honestly, I see that public schools are really trying to be more politically correct and progressiveness through that nature. But at the same time, something like that, I guess, could still be seen as controversial, especially to the community in Florida.
There's also bigger things.
My whole thing with that word progressive is that if we're going to be progressive, let's be progressive. Being progressive is not fucking the left side of things. Or the right side of things. It's not going about one. If fucking we are truly going to be progressive, we should teach people what fucking shit is really going to be. We should teach fucking taxes, how to fucking set up an income, how to fucking pay our bills, fucking and shit like that in fucking schools and stuff. it's just one of those things where, like, when you talk about progressive, it's like my thought is progressive, so we're going to go with that idea as what is progressive. Where in reality, progressive is teaching what has happened in the past, seeing what fucking has worked and what didn't work, and then combining it into our new culture and being able to do something. Is this something that might be taking cues from the past and forming that into something to create this bill? Sure, it might, but the only way to really find out is to let it happen and see what goes from there.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll happen.
I don't think it will.
That is just a huge thing to pass.
Gay marriage is now legal in all 50 states. It's federally legal.
Yeah,
I don't see them being like, hey, you can get married in Florida, but
you can't talk about it.
You can't talk about it.
Yeah. But would they have passed?
You can't tell your kids about it.
Would they have passed it if it wasn't federal?
We're straight. 2 girls that are raising this kid. Like, we're straight. What? You see how that can, like, twist and deform a kid's fucking psyche and shit like that? Yeah. That's why I'm against it. I don't know if you want to take a stance on it, but I'm against the bill. I think that it's dumb. I don't think we have a need for that. Let's be progressive and fucking teach people what life is really like. This isn't the Middle Ages anymore. We don't have to burn people at the stake for being a witch, for being fucking gay. We understand that some people do have a preference of what sexuality they are.
I'd be against it just because you're basically just restricting knowledge and information from people. And, that's never a good thing. Like that.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Trying to rationalize it, it's also like what you said earlier about, like, the biological correct answer. If, you take young kids and throw, the sexuality and transgenderism in the mix, I could see it misconstruing things in biology. Well, kids aren't necessarily aware of everything that's going on, but at the same time, let them find out.
That's why I come back to the transgender thing and why I think it's more George to transgender and stuff like that, because there's just a lot of stuff that, like, you see these, like, reality TV shows where people are raising their son as a female or whatever, and it's like, oh, he has a choice, but clearly they want him to be wearing dresses and acting like a woman so that he can be that progressive transgender kid, and it's just not right. The kid has a chemical makeup in his head that fucking forms who he is. Let him be who he is. Be a parent that lets him explore things.
Well, I'm just going to say, like, if I have a kid, he's 5 years old and he wants to dress up in a dress and fucking high heels.
Go ahead.
Go do it, man.
Whatever makes you happy. Do you, boo-boo. Do you. I don't care, but that's the thing. There's people who want something to be something so bad that they push it on their kids. That's the problem with parenting in a lot of people. I want my kid to do what he wants. If he wants to wear a dress, cool. If he wants to play basketball, cool. If he wants to be a drummer, cool. I'm not going to force him. I'm going to let my kid do what he wants to do within reason and fucking expand on it and figure it the fuck out.
You could plant a seed,
but
maybe
if he's
spitball ideas, but
let
him decide.
Let her decide. I mean, he's a kid. He's very influential growing up, so you're obviously going to influence him in certain ways. But
if my kid comes up to me and they're like fucking 8 years old or fucking even like 15 years old, and they're like, hey, I want to start taking tea. I'm not going to let them start taking tea. Because what
testosterone?
Testosterone. Because if you start taking testosterone at a young age...
No, I knew what she was talking about, but I was like, you might want to specify.
Sorry. If you start taking testosterone at a young age, and then you wind up being like... Because, again, your kids' brains are not developed fully. No,
that is one thing I'm completely against. If you're going to put chemical... I'm with that against everything. Fucking whether it's Adderall, Xanax, fucking Paxil, testosterone. We do not need to be putting chemicals in our fucking kids.
No, don't. But, like, if they are like that, I'm going to say no. And if they end up when they are old enough to be able to make their own decisions.
If you can die for your country, you can do whatever the fuck you want.
Yes, exactly.
For sure.
Then, cool. I'll support them in whatever they do. But I'm not going to be the one to be like, okay, yeah, let's start taking this testosterone. And then when you turn fucking 15, you're like, hey, maybe I don't want to be a man. Well, you're shit out of luck, man. You're gonna be messed up. Mm-hmm. It's not healthy to be doing that and then go off of it.
Right.
And there are parents that are doing that, and I'm like, I understand.
Possible? Is that reversible?
What? Just taking testosterone? You just stop.
No, the procedure.
Oh, I don't know if
the
procedure is reversible.
It is reversible.
Well, so most transgender guys don't
apparently
don't
the surgery is really not nearly as complicated as you think, and people think that like if you have fucking sex change from a female to a man, that like you'd have like a mangled dick or whatever. Apparently they've gotten to a point where like it's pretty good.
Sure.
Pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, if you
shoot semen and fucking have babies, but
I mean, and when you start taking testosterone, you start to develop something that could be called a penis. But like if you chop your titties off, you just have to get them put back on.
Isn't it that your clitoris just starts elongating at that point?
Yeah. It's like key stick.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, micro penis, extended clitoris. If this is your first time watching Your House, Our Rules, get used to it. But anyway, that was probably a pretty controversial fucking thing to have. There's going to be a lot of new people watching this episode or whatever. You know what? You're right. When your dad watched the last episode calling you a Republican, you do have that fucking Republican type vibe.
I mean, that's how I was raised, and
it's a weird little dynamic we got really going on right now. The two straight males being like, you know what? I'm against that, and the lesbian be like, fuck it, let it happen.
Well, no, I never said let it happen. I never said let it happen.
I know, I'm misquoting. I am misquoting. I'm just joking.
I don't know.
But let's move on from that. There's a couple other controversial things that happened in the news recently. We were going to cover this last weekend, but Valentine's Day got in the way of it a little bit with Bailey.
Sorry,
and
I had to take care of my girlfriend.
The Bengals also played on Sunday, and like it was just a whole fucking thing. So now that that's over with, we're trucking forward. But last week they had released a bill that was going to provide like a $30 million revenue into supplying crack pipes to addicts and giving them safe spaces and stuff like that. And it kind of popped up in the media a little bit. Now I am being told that they ended up not passing that bill and that it will not come to fruition. I didn't read much out about that, but I did read up on the one that was before. A lot of people were kind of freaking out about this, but at the same time, this is not the first time that they have had like safe houses to do drugs.
Well, I don't think it. I don't know if it didn't pass. I think they revised it.
Yeah,
because Biden came out and said that he wasn't going to give crack pipes to crack addicts, crackheads.
Yeah.
My thing is, why crack? I think
that was what I thought.
Yeah,
like with the heroin epidemic going on, why aren't we doing like clean needles for people?
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
I mean, that's what Canada.
That's what they do in some other countries, and I think they've done it in New York too.
Vancouver, Canada, especially, and apparently it's been working out up there.
Or like they're starting to do where they have boxes with Narcan in them, where you can go and get Narcan. And
well, I know in certain places, especially Cincinnati, fucking all officers are equipped with Narcan.
Oh yeah,
fucking ready to go.
I wouldn't know if they know really how to use them.
I think it's any
coming from my side,
You
but
stick it in their leg and fucking shoot them.
No.
I think that's every first responder, though, not just the police.
The police have them, but they don't use them. It's nostrils. Yeah, but the police have them. And I was a firefighter at EMT for 6 years, and most of the cops don't use them. But that's mostly because we're right behind them with coming to use it. It's usually not that. It sounds morbid, but it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Like, if they're going to come back, they're going to come back. If they're not, they're
Narcan, not. Narcan does fucking hit them with that adrenaline or whatever the fuck it is. They fucking instantly kind of snaps it out of them. So you know once you're coming with it, and if they have overdosed, boom.
Yeah.
It doesn't always work like that. But you know, we're not talking about Narcan though. We're talking about the crack pipes and the whole theory behind it and stuff like that.
Crack is whack.
It's one of those things. I was talking to Sam a little bit about this before. I do see the value in having like substances like this legalized.
Yeah.
I am a strong believer that if you were to legalize all drugs, and you know, as long as they're not caught with more than a 1 week supply of it, then they wouldn't get in any trouble or whatever. I'm a strong proponent of that because we have seen that in other countries that do work. Oregon has recently done it in the United States. Denver's starting to get there. I know Amsterdam has done that. You said Canada is kind of doing the thing a little bit.
Yeah, they've been doing it.
Amsterdam's been doing it too, and they have shown like mass decreases in violent crimes, mass decreases in overdoses, mass decreases in like the actual
diseases and shit.
Yeah, and decreases in the amount of hard drugs used once it is actually legalized as well.
It's the same deal with prohibition, you know.
Now here's the difference between that. I agree with that. I think people should be able to make their own decisions. I think most people can fucking do drugs and fucking, as long as they are fucking regulated, won't have any issues with them. But the issue comes when the government is supplying people who are already addicts, who are already on the streets, who cannot be trusted with this thing, that I do not agree with. I do not think that we need to be supplying people with clean needles. I don't think we need to be supplying people with fucking crack pipes. If you want to smoke crack, cool. Go buy a crack pipe. Go buy some crack. If you want to shoot up heroin, go buy some needles. Go buy some fucking dope.
As if the CIA wasn't already supplying crack to the city.
And I'll say it right now. I know.
Okay,
right. You brought that shit up too before. No, well, that's what he brought up before, and I was like, you got a good point, because he was talking about how this whole crack pipe thing. He's like, it might just be a way of just supplying people with more fucking drug for the drug war and stuff.
It could.
And that's exactly what it kind of looks like in a sense.
I mean, shit, man. Biden passed a crime bill in the 90s.
Because
come on now.
Yeah, exactly.
You think he's playing both fronts now? Like,
and that's where it becomes an issue, because if you're supplying it to people and it's not legal, what fucking point are we trying to prove to people here now? Yeah. Like, it's okay to do drugs and it's okay to do this thing, just we're not going to regulate it.
Only if you do it out of the federal crack pipe.
Yeah. Well, we got to fuel fucking those fucking underclass fucking communities full of drugs, so we can keep the fucking prison systems full and make our fucking money.
Yeah. Well, so my dad brought up a point about this on how this is going to make me sound very Republican, but on how the Democrats started the hoods. The Democrats started making these houses where...
Why? Well, that's very untrue.
I don't know.
We have had had upper class and fucking lower class for thousands of years, Bailey. The Democratic Party was not invented fucking anywhere close to the time that we've had hoods.
I know what you're getting. I know what you're getting at, and it's honestly, it's a red light thing. Red lighting is basically more of a systemic thing, and it's, they're sectioning off areas of a city, and it's kind of orchestrated by the banks. Certain parts of the city, it's harder to take out loans, to get a good house, or for whatever you need, and it's been a problem for generations, and it's a way of keeping the poor poor.
Well, yeah, that's
but we've been doing that for thousands of generations. So how is it the Democrats that did that?
They passed some bill.
It doesn't matter. We've been having these things for years. It's just like racism. People talking about, I think eventually if we just let racism go, that eventually it'll fix itself. No, it's been happening for fucking thousands and thousands of years. Just like rich people will always find a way to keep poor people poor for thousands of years. And then we did find a way to introduce the bourgeoisie and the middle class back in France and the fucking, what was it, like 1500s or some shit like that. I wouldn't quote me on that. But that's the kind of thing that broke it up into these divisions or whatever. But there still is, the middle class kind of interacts on their own. The fucking upper class still feeds off those two functioning things. And a lot of the shit that happens just makes poor people continue to get poorer and poorer. And they continue to grow and grow and grow.
It's like, how can, two kids go to the same school, but they come from such drastic backgrounds? And, you got Timmy here. He's came from a good life, good family, and has access to all these opportunities, after school curriculum, sports, whatever.
You're talking about private schools, bro.
No, I'm talking about public schools.
Well, you're talking about your types of public schools. A lot of people, when you got to be careful when you say that, because when people think the public school system, they think fucking like Cincinnati Public. There ain't rich kids or middle class kids in fucking some of those slum fucking public schools.
I speak generally when I talk about this. Yeah. So, I mean, may not happen in your part, but it is a thing. It does happen.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
I mean,
continue.
Well, I kind of lost track. Sorry.
My bad, bro.
ADHD, y'all.
I'm really good for that. But you were talking about how the public school system has different classes. Like how do they go to the same school, same year, but yet they both come from different backgrounds?
Yeah, no, they live in the same city. It was just some parts where I came up. Just some parts are a lot nicer than others, and some parts are just ran down. I mean, I grew up in Coleraine. There's some certain areas around that are a lot nicer, more, I guess, And then there's other parts like, you know, sort of kind of more towards the west side. Just it's older. It's a very older city.
Yeah.
And
I know a lot about Coleraine. Fucking there's old Coleraine and fucking new Coleraine.
Yeah.
One's a little bit more structured than the other one is, but Coleraine's actually the biggest township population-wise, I think.
I mean, even in Mason, though, because it's maybe a better example. You got a lot of rich parts in Mason. They're more downtown Mason and some areas around it.
Mason bougie
not
as
so
fuck, bro.
much.
Well,
Mason
same thing with Franklin.
But I know a lot of people in Mason who struggled, could not afford.
I do too.
To live in
yeah,
Mason.
I do too. But comparing Coleraine and Mason is a little bit different because there's not motherfuckers struggling for fucking meals necessarily in Mason.
But I did kind of branch off there because I was supposed to be talking about red lighting. Mason is not a red lighted district.
Yeah.
But whatever, it's a thing.
Yeah. It is one of those things. We kind of just derailed a little bit on there and got into some other things.
Crack is whack, y'all.
But yeah, the whole idea. I just kind of want to get your guys' viewpoint on the whole thing. I kind of gave mine that I'm with fucking legalizing drugs, letting people fucking have it, maintaining it, fucking regulating it. I think that that's an okay thing. But when we're just condoning fucking heavy drug use from heavy drug users, I think that creates more of an issue than we already have.
Well, I think the same thing with you is fuck around and find out if everything's legal. You know, if you are gonna abuse the drug, you're gonna abuse the drug, and you know it is what
it's
it
worked
is.
for other countries like the Dominican Republic and other places like that. Crime rates go down. It's just like prohibition, man. Like people are gonna find a way to get it.
Yeah, people are.
It's not gonna be legal.
But
yeah, well,
and that kind of, to your point, it kind of is one of those things where when they see it, it's like, well, what is the thing that makes people do drugs? It's not the fucking feeling that you get when you do drugs. It's the crime. People just want to fucking commit crime.
The secret ingredient is crime.
Yeah.
And fucking, they've actually seen a little bit of that with like weed culture and shit like that. When they introduce fucking weed and they make it recreational or whatever in states, they kind of see a slight decline in the amount of people that start smoking weed.
That happened in Denver.
Yeah. So, it's one of those things.
I'm glad that Biden came out and said that he's not gonna give crap. I thought the headline, was fake. I was like, what?
You did send it to me, and I was like,
that's fake.
I looked at it at first, and I was like, huh? And then I thought about it for a second. I'm like, okay, I see where they're probably going with this. And I read it, and I was like, yeah, that's where they were.
Yeah, I called my dad, and he goes, no, that's real. I was like, oh god, okay,
for sure. But speaking of lighting up, fucking fusion reactors are becoming a very legitimate thing that is going to provide clean, air quote, energy to a lot of the world. I've been looking into a lot of the stuff that has come up with these fusion reactors. There's a little bit of a arms race that's going on with like the UK, Russia, China, the United States, and even South Korea's in there a little bit. But basically what they're doing is they've got these giant donut flavor.
Plasma
tastes like donuts,
donut flavored nuclear energy.
It's this donut shaped like reactor that heats up to, I think it was 10 million degrees.
I can't remember
was
how.
10 million degrees?
It does the same thing as when stars are made.
It does the
same.
Yeah, it's what makes
fusion.
It's
what happens at the
stars in the sun.
It's what happens at the star's core and stuff like that. It's essentially fucking superheating hydrogen until they fucking. I believe bond. You said that the difference between fission and fusion was fission splits atoms.
Yep.
And fucking the other one fuses atoms.
Them.
So what they're doing essentially is, I don't know how they necessarily get it to do that, but in the sun there is fission and there is fusion. The fission is the reactive explosions, and the fusions are the ones that are fucking binding it together to create these fucking super dense fucking plasma, which I didn't realize this until recently, but when I was a kid, we were taught that there's 3 types of matter: fucking water, or liquid, solid, and gas. Now, actually, because stars are made out of plasma, there's 4 different types of matter. Essentially, what we're doing is creating the plasma that happens at like the cores of stars and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those things where I saw a statistic that a cup of this fucking plasma can power a regular house for 800 years, which is the cup of it.
Which is crazy.
But they're only I watched something and it said that they were only being able to make that reaction happen for 5 minutes, but that's a record of what they're doing.
China a couple weeks ago set the new record, which was just over 17 minutes, where they were creating fusion for 17 minutes. And
it's
one of those
do this
things
shit for years, though.
Yeah, it is, and it's become 17 minutes is a lot, man.
Yeah.
Fucking, and that's we've advanced very fucking fast with all that. So it's one of those things where it's super, super exciting, the technology that we have and that we're witnessing in front of us. But it's also scary because, Russia and China and the United States, who are that kind of like triangle that's always competing for fucking status, essentially. What happens if one of the other one gets a fusion reactor that is able to operate on like a functional level? Like able to fucking actually power their fucking cities and shit like that. Once you do that, it's a game changer. You now have this fucking clean, I put air quotes again around it because there was a little section at the bottom that said that it might not necessarily be clean.
Well, there's a difference in that.
But it's different than the fission.
Before we do that. So, God damn it. So it's one of those things where if you have that amount of power, you are going to have such an advantage when it comes to the power scale of things.
Yeah, sure. And eventually all the money you save for the economy in your country as far as that, instead of going through all that electricity and burning fossil fuels and shit.
Yep.
But the waste involved is another thing to think about. They've been doing this for a long time, but I think they started with fission first.
Yeah.
The problem with fission is that it creates a lot of radioactive waste.
Well,
and that's a big thing because you can't naturally dispose of radioactive waste. You can only contain it. And
then like what happened with what was it, North Korea or South Korea, or maybe Japan.
You're talking about Fukushima.
That was a nuclear reactor.
Yeah, but that's the same thing. They were doing fission.
That is not fission. Nuclear reactions and fission.
No, no, that's not the point though. Yeah. It's just what happened when all that, I guess, was.
Well, it's releasing radiation. The point I'm trying to make, if you read into the fucking thing, the sun that we have, whether it's doing fusion or fission, is a radioactive thing. It is releasing radiation into our solar system. All stars are doing it, and it's kind of like if you look at it and you see what's going on. No one ever thought that cigarettes were bad for us when we first started smoking cigarettes. No one ever thought that fucking the carbon monoxide from cars are going to be poking holes in the ozone layer or something like that. So what I believe was happening was when they do this, it ends up releasing a lot of helium. Anything that fucking happens, anything you get too much of can be a problem. Water, everything in this world needs water to live. However, if you take too much of it, you'll drown and die. Mm-hmm. So, and when we're talking about scales of these government levels, these fucking high profile power systems and stuff that are going on, they're probably not telling us exactly what is going to happen that's bad to us. They're just showing us the good. Hey guys, we're going to get all this unlimited power. It's 10 times more powerful than fucking what it takes to actually put into it. But at the same time, what are they fucking putting into us?
Well,
just like 5G and stuff
cigarettes.
Like that.
They did that with cigarettes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now look at what's happening, though. There's a bunch of people with a fucking Surgeon General. Yep. It says that these are bad for you, and it says that they cause lung cancer. I still do it.
Yeah, well,
no one cares.
You don't give a fuck. That's doing shit to your body, really. Like, you're just like, fuck it.
That's part of addiction. That's a little bit different. But we can take cars as an example. Cars has become such a necessity to us now that we do not have a problem with just poking holes in our ozone layer, fucking driving our cars around every day.
Yeah, or like your phone. What do you think your phone's doing to you when you put it up to your head?
Yeah,
probably not good things.
There's been studies about that. And now we're releasing 5Gs, and there's a lot of people out there saying the waves are fucking with us and stuff like that. The fact is, until we actually come out and do study this and have like a lot of testing that we have done with it, we won't know what it really does. So to call it clean energy, and that's the big headline that I've seen on all of them, we're really close to clean energy. We're really close to clean energy.
Well, see, that's
we do not know enough about fucking the core bit of fucking actual fusion and fission to even fucking begin to say what it can have.
The thing with fusion is that the nuclear fusion is supposed to be a lot cleaner than fission. It produces a lot less waste.
Sure.
So I think that's what they're moving towards.
But just because it's not shooting out radiation like we know doesn't mean it's not shooting out something else that is fucking exponentially worse for us.
It could be.
Sure.
But I get you. I get you.
But I mean.
But I mean, a lot of energy. And don't get me wrong. Because I started off the thing with saying, like, it's kind of one of those sweet things. It is scary, but it is also fucking super cool. it's not something that I think that we should stop on. I think that we should definitely continue to do so, because all the great advancements that we've had in this world are something that we had to take a risk on.
Well, I saw something that said that if we, like, this is all from scientists and stuff, but it said that if we don't find a different way of producing energy from, like, fossil fuels and stuff like that, that by 2050 we're gonna be fucked.
I've seen a lot of those. I've seen a lot of those statistics. I just don't know. But
we're also, like, it's not as, like, in the grand scheme of things, it's close, but it's not that close to actually being able to, like, 17 minutes.
Yeah.
It's not that close, but in the grand scheme of science, it's way closer than we were.
That 17 minutes that we were able to do fusion, they had a statistic on there that it would be able to heat up, or would be able to power, like, 800,000 houses for, like, a couple months or a couple years or something with just that 17 minutes.
Yeah, but
so it's very, very expensive too, the shit that they're doing. Now as it goes, it'll become more inexpensive, but it's one of the things that we just need to keep testing and pan out on.
Think about how loud that son of a bitch is when it's running too.
Oh yeah. It's literally combining two atoms.
I don't know enough about the science and shit like that. It's literally
combining, like, that's crazy though. Yeah. That we have figured out how to combine atoms. Like that. That's dope.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've figured out how to do fucking fission and stuff like that before, because that's what the atom bombs did in the 1940s. So
well, fission.
We have an understanding about it, but the thing about physics and science is there's so much more. So much more.
Well, yeah. I mean, hell, we don't know hardly anything about the human brain. And,
no.
And we're humans. We have a brain inside of us.
Yeah.
Science in general, there's so much that you can explore on.
There's a lot. That's why we should all just turn to God, start praying, yo.
Yeah, okay. I'll get on that one.
Anyway, I would end it right there, but at the same time, I do want to get into our last segment, which is what we've been sipping on, which is something that I've kind of made a staple thing of the YHOR podcast, which is just whatever media consumptions that you've been having over the past week or whatever since the last time we've been doing it. What are we doing?
He's ready.
He's ready. He's Demon Slayer.
Bro, it's Demon Slayer.
It's Demon Slayer.
Yeah, we just finished off the season last weekend, and holy fucking shit. That's crazy.
It popped off.
That's crazy.
If you watch any type of anime or whatever, Demon Slayer is definitely doing the damn thing when it comes to, like, animation. It's one of the more beautiful animations. I would say maybe the best animation when it comes to, like, the shonen style and thing. The only problem that I have with that is I think that the story structure does end up suffering because of it. There is not much of a story behind Demon Slayer. It moves pretty quickly. It kind of is just like, let's go here, let's fight them.
We've talked about it. There's not so much character development. Yeah. And they don't go too much into the backstory.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I can get behind that. Like, Dragon Ball Z wasn't really fucking strong on character development. Maybe. That's more of a nostalgic thing. I wish I could have watched that as an adult and been like...
It's hard to.
I have, but it was the whole nostalgia thing that just brings me back. Like, I'm still crying at the end when they're like, everyone's got a savior, and fucking they have Goku just like...
I can get behind the lack of character development for the most part. It kind of, for the most part, you can kind of fill in the blanks. But it's also... I like it because I don't have to sit through a shit ton of filler. You know what I mean? That's my...
Well, we've moved away from...
to the point.
We've moved away from that, from the large fucking, like, Shonen Jump animes that are being recreated for the most part. I think Black Clover is the only one that still does that.
I think My Hero still does it too, low-key.
My Hero may... I don't know. I haven't read it, but from what I understand, My Hero pretty much sticks to the manga pretty well.
Yeah. Demon Slayer is 100% true to the manga as well.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but they take some time. But here's the point that I was trying to make about that. It is like... How many episodes did we even get for the Red Light District arc?
10.
10?
Yeah.
10 episodes, and it's been how long since the last season?
Yeah. It's the first season came out, it was like 2019. And, yeah.
It's been a while to get 10 more episodes, and there's really not much story structure. There's really not much character development. The animation's awesome. I can get behind that.
Honestly, that's why I ended up reading the manga.
Yeah,
I couldn't wait for it.
Yeah. Exactly. That doesn't do anything. Watching manga on panels or whatever, it's not there for me.
You don't get the full effect, especially when it comes to the fight scenes. You can't exactly see what everything's going on.
And that's what got me into the
UFO
whole...
Table killed it when it comes to the reinterpretation of
Ufotable?
I guess that's what it's called.
I think it's ufotable.
I say UFO table.
They've been doing shit like the Stay series for a while. When it comes down to like action, fucking fight choreography and stuff like that, they are top tier. When it comes to choreography, I would say that the creators of Naruto are probably the best. But when it comes to the actual animation of things, yes, ufotable is probably top tier.
I looked it up. I think they have like a $10,000 budget for each episode they do.
It's
I
think it was a $10 million budget for the 10 episodes, and it came down to like an average of 800,000 on each episode.
I read it was a 10,000 on each episode, but we can look that up later. And then the Mugen Train movie that had like $150 million budget.
$10,000 per episode is not much, dude.
You don't think?
No.
Maybe I got that wrong, but we'll figure it out.
$10,000 is a lot of fucking money to me.
When you're talking about these high-level animations and stuff like that, there's a lot that goes into that. $10,000 really is not that much for an episode. Mm-hmm. I think that the statistic that I saw said that it was a $10 million budget, and the average episode was $800,000. So the more advanced episodes maybe was like $1.5 million for that episode, and one of the lower end episodes was like $500,000, but the average was kind of like
Jesse, fact check this.
I wish, dude. Fucking, hopefully that's something that we can get Hunter into.
We need to get Hunter to fact check.
That'd be cool. We appreciate you guys because honestly, we're not the most knowledgeable on this, but we try to do our research and we are open to discussion on it all. And I think that's the biggest point.
We're open for discussion. That's what we're going to do with the group. Open up, even for the podcast, open up discussions for the actual podcast that we have. So go ahead and put your shit in there. I do want to. I've got a computer. My grandpa passed away, and I've got his computer. It's just really slow on RAM. I want to put some new RAM in it, and hopefully I can get to a point where I can do a podcast in the living room with more space, because this is a little cramped, and then that way I can have that as like a traveling computer to do nothing but the podcast, specifically for the podcast. And then that way I can have my MacBook there. I can search shit as we go, and then we could have like someone like Hunter who's helping us do the shit as well.
Yeah.
So there should be a nice little bump in the videographer side of things coming here soon. I don't know if we're necessarily going to do the whole like switching cameras between the people, because that's just a lot of work. I used to do that at the beginning of the YHOR rules, and it was like doing an hour episode. It was cool. Like 4 or 5 hours.
It was
of
really
clicking
cool.
buttons and shit. Yeah.
I like what you did there. I won't lie.
Yeah, I know. I had to dumb it down because it was just taking too much time.
Yeah, you have to have help with that.
Yeah.
But what y'all been sipping on? Bailey, what you been sipping on, girl?
You know, I started to watch Euphoria.
I've heard a lot about it.
Okay, yeah. I've heard.
I haven't gotten very far into it. I'm like on episode 3 because I have a lot of shit to do and not enough time. But Euphoria, it might be making me depressed.
Oh, really?
I've heard. I might not continue watching it.
I've heard a couple people say that it was like really good. It was like really deep, and then I've heard a couple people that said that it's just teen drama bullshit.
So,
which I'm for teen drama bullshit.
Apparently, it takes place in high school.
Yeah.
I've watched the first season of 13.
13 Reasons. You know how it was very deep. Euphoria is deeper. Yeah. And
I've never seen either. So
13 Reasons was about suicide and stuff like that, but.
I know Euphoria
is
Zendaya stars in it, and apparently she's like a opioid addict.
Yeah, right? she's an addict.
Oh, really? In high school?
The whole first season starts out with her going to rehab, and it's the concept behind the actual TV show is awesome, and the way that they portray it is amazing. But it's just so real and deep that it just makes you, if you've ever been around opioids or even just regular drug use in general, it fucks your mind up.
Shit.
It's I don't know how to explain it. Like it's like sad because you feel for the characters, but you feel for the characters because you feel like you're like in the show.
You feel for the characters, but at the same time, you know that they're the ones putting themselves through.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like,
you seen Requiem for a Dream?
No, everyone keeps telling me to watch that. That's on my list of fucking shows to watch. Max always says that.
It's a cult classic. Honestly, I have never watched a movie that just it's It's not bad. It's real shit, but like it made me.
Yeah,
feel,
I heard it's depressing as fuck.
It's depressing as fuck, but I also felt just disgusted after watching.
Well, to be honest, if you watch Euphoria, that's
how I want to feel.
That's kind of basically the gist of what I was.
It's kind of the same thing.
That's how you need to feel when you watch a really good piece of like TV or fucking movie. Whatever it's going for. If you just feel like, oh my god, I'm a piece of shit, or if you're just laughing your ass off, or you feel really happy at the end, as long as you have that extreme. And sometimes I like watching those depressing shows that just fucking.
I mean, I do too. I do too.
That's for sure.
But Euphoria, to be honest, I don't know if I'll continue watching it.
Really?
Just because of how it makes you feel. Like, I was texting you and I was like, I just don't feel great
I gotta watch it now. I'm glad you fucking brought that up because I've heard a lot about it on social media recently. I've heard some people say things about it. I've heard mixed signals, but the way you explained it to me makes it seem like it would be right up my alley.
Yeah, it probably would, okay. But there is teen drama in it. I mean, it has to be.
I don't have an issue.
It has to be like entertaining. You know, that's the entertainment part of it. But
here's my thing with like the teen drama. There's a show called Daybreakers on Netflix. I don't know if either of you seen it, but it takes place in a world where it's like this fucking like teen rom-com sitcom type thing, like a Boy Meets World type thing, and it's in a world where all the adults have been turned into zombies, but all the kids that are high school and younger are completely fine. So they're living in this post-apocalyptic world, and it's super violent and gory.
I've either seen something like that or seen that. That sounds super.
And it's
familiar.
actually a really good show, but it does follow that whole like teen sitcom fucking.
Yeah, I mean, they are in high school in Euphoria, so
yeah.
And it's kind of you want to be like, man, this shit doesn't happen, but it does.
Yeah, I've seen it happen in my
you're like they're so young. How is this happening to them? It just it happens.
It happens.
And it's also like I've watched some TikToks and YouTube videos about it, and like when I watch TV shows, especially if I don't have enough time to watch a bunch of episodes right after another. I watch like YouTube videos about whatever's going on and what stuff like that. And there's a lot of like there's a lot of toxic relationships, and I think that's hitting me. Like I'm like, God damn, like that sucks.
We're not getting into that.
No, I'm not. I'm not. But or like pedophilia. There's that shit in it. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a fucked up show.
It's one of those ones.
It's good,
like I said,
but it's just fucked up.
Like one of those things, like I said about the Daybreakers. Like it's meant to be that teen sitcom type genre, but it's not necessarily a teen sitcom.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's on fucking HBO, so it's not fucking geared towards kids.
Kids should not watch this. Yeah. If kids are watching kids should not watch that show.
I'll have to check that out then. As for me, with what I've been sipping on,
what you've been sipping on?
I've had a really busy couple of weeks since the last time that we had. I watched the Dota animation, or I tried to watch the Dota animation because, like, you know how they had the Arcane type thing, you know,
for
about
League of
Dota.
Legends?
Yeah. So I thought that might be the same thing. Not even close. It's shit. It's terrible.
Honestly, League of Legends has crazy ass cinematics. Like they got like short stories and shit.
The League of Legends has been so built out on
that, bro.
Yeah, Arcane was dope, but Dota was not the move. The other thing that I recently started, I've been really busy. I've been fucking firing on all cylinders, trying to fucking figure a bunch of shit out with this YHOR. But earlier this week, I started to watch Surviving R. Kelly. And I'm about 3 episodes in. Oh, that also brings me up to another thing that I want to end on. My little sleep paralysis fucking thing.
Oh, yeah.
But I was watching Surviving R. Kelly, and it's looking interesting. Chris kind of recommended it to me because we were talking about like super fucked up movies and stuff. I don't know if I've talked about it, but there was one night where me, Max, and fucking Chris watched a Serbian film at their house, and a Serbian film is banned in like 69 countries.
You tried to get us to watch it.
I try to all the time. It's so fucked up, bro. It's so fucked up. It's not really all that scary. It's fucked up.
Yeah, I'm not watching it.
And he gave me another one called Irreversible, and then he said, and then we kind of got leading into like the Forgetting Neverland with Michael Jackson and stuff like that.
God,
and he was like, he was talking about Surviving R. Kelly, and I'm starting to watch Surviving R. Kelly, and like I knew the things that were going on with R. Kelly, but I didn't really realize how deep it was from like the beginning, and how many people kind of knew this was going on and just didn't say anything about it. And I'm only 2 episodes in.
No, I've never watched it.
Yeah.
But
so
R.
I'm gonna do
Kelly's
that.
fucked up.
But I, you know what? I'm not gonna put the other one. We've reached about a minute and 15. I'm not gonna do my sleep paralysis thing. I might do that next week. I had a.
We can save that for another day.
I'll leave a little. I'll leave a little fucking
hanger.
teaser out there. But yeah, I had when I was watching, I fell asleep on the couch and had this super intense fucking sleep paralysis where I saw the shadow people for a third time.
It's a night terror.
Yep.
Dude,
so,
shadow people, they suck.
Yeah. With that
They
being
can
said,
suck my dick.
this has been episode 33 of Your House, Our Rules. I love y'all. Stay tuned.
I'm the man in your
Huge
dreams.
things
That's all I
coming.
know.
Later, y'all.
Bye, guys.
So, Bailey, you ever eat Day 4 Festival ass?